So in this video, I want to talk about the DanMachi news going around, and some of those headlines are as following. DanMachi light novel will enter its final arc with volume 21. Now, I don't know how I'm going to title this video, because technically that is true, but it's also missing context. And so, of course, if you're just reading that title and going, oh my god, it's entering its final arc, it must be ending soon. Not quite as probably what you think, and that's the thing. Reading something like that, people are going to interpret that how they want, and I get it. When you're on X or you're on a website or a YouTube video, good headlines are important, but that's why it's a hard balance to always come up with. I'm not even sure how I'm going to title it, but I'll worry about that problem after I've done recording. Here's the thing: there is a bit of mistranslation that has happened with this bit of information. It's probably that, or some places are just deliberately kind of being a little bit open-ended on how they go about it. It's like pretending to be dumb so you can justify a really good title. It's a good tactic, but as someone that loves DanMachi, as someone that's read the light novels, and I have not read volume 20 yet, it has just come out, and this is where the information is coming from, I believe, is at the end of volume 20. There's like like every light novel has where the author gives their final words on the volume, and they're like, oh yeah, hey, I'm doing great, I hope you're doing great, oh, I had so much fun reading, whatever they want to write. Clearly in that, they've said something, and people are taking that and not either translating it correctly, removing context, or just being deceptive. It could be one or the other, it could be all of them, depending on who is reporting on it. But now you're wondering, okay, what's the missing context? So some of the information that I've heard, and this is people that are translating the volumes themselves so that they can read it, they can give synopsis, they can have fan translations out there, that basically I'll read as the comic goes. Just to clarify, there was a bit of a mistranslation addressed in the earlier post where it clarifies that an arc has multiple parts, and those usually are a few volumes long. So right away you can take from that there is clearly going to be multiple parts to this final arc, and that there is going to be multiple volumes for each part. So let's go the worst case scenario. Let's say there are 2 parts and 2 volumes for each part. That's 4 volumes. Straight away it doesn't seem so daunting now, doesn't it? That's still 20% still left to go kind of thing. Kind of doing some basic math there, but that's still a good chunk, and it could take some years for those final volumes to come out. In my opinion, and how I've read through this, or how I've interpreted it, is that I expect there to be at least minimal 5 more volumes, 5 more minimally, give or take of that. So I'd say between 5 to 7 volumes. I don't think they're just going to suddenly end it out of thin air, because there's still a lot of stuff that needs resolving, and I don't expect this to be like other light novels that I've been reading that definitely are ending their story more abruptly. I expect this will have a not so much satisfying ending is on the person's feelings and opinion, but I feel like it will have a ending that hasn't just been abruptly ended, if you catch my general gist. Whether you like the ending or not, well, we'll just have to find out, but it will be satisfying in the sense of at least it is what the author wanted to do in its full scope, and not just decided out of thin air that they wanted to go from 10 volumes and just cut it down to, say, 2. I don't expect that. So for me personally, I'm expecting at least another 5 to 7 volumes. Now, as I stated, it's entering its final arc, but there is that information that it can be, and it will most likely be multiple parts with multiple volumes. So don't stress, it's not the end of the world, we're still getting some more volumes, and those volumes can be quite meaty as well. The author has a tendency to go from very short volumes to very long volumes, so it can flex a bit. And with the arcs that are coming up, or the story that we know that's coming up, I'm expecting some pretty meaty stuff to be in it, so I wouldn't be stressing too much, to say the least. As far as how the ending's going to go, I think many of us can speculate on where that's going to go. There's also a bunch of other side story volumes still yet to come out as well. So I don't expect this to be ending anytime soon. I could see DanMachi light novel series still going after 10 years. That sounds insane, but I'm just like, unless the author starts pumping volumes out like there's no tomorrow, which I say that in last year they pumped out a bunch. It was this year and last year they pumped out a bunch of volumes. So I'm just expecting that they will still do a bunch of the side story volumes for eyes. I expect that there'll be a couple of other side volumes, those odd ones out, like say like the Freya story and all that. I expect those, and then of course the main story. So I'm expecting, even if they released 1 volume per year, and I'm expecting 5 to 7 volumes for the main story and say a half a dozen for the others, that's a long time if it's 1 volume per year. If it's more than 1 volume per year, then maybe it might end a little bit sooner than that. Maybe 6 or 7 years. But even then, you'd be pumping out a fair few volumes. Because again, there's a lot of story to this series than I think people realize, and there's a lot of side story stuff. I just want a second season for Sword Princess, but I would like them to fix the mess-ups that they did with Season 1. That's just an opinion on something a little bit off-tandem, but I wouldn't stress. There is still much of the story, and it's not, in the sense, it's not going to end soon. Yes, we're entering the final arc, but it's not necessarily going to be a short arc. Multiple parts, multiple volumes. Don't stress. I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to be very clear there, because I know some people will try and twist that and go, oh, well, actually, there's only going to be probably 2-3 volumes. I'm like, I think that's, you're looking on more the negative side of things. I'm being more hopeful. You could say maybe I'm coping, but I've said a couple of years ago that the author was clearly going to do more than what meets the eye and what people said, and they used original articles where the author said something, and then it actually ended up not being quite true because the author ended up changing their mind and doing more. Again, things do change, so that's why I try to look at the whole bigger picture. So again, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you excited for Volume 20 of DanMachi? I am definitely going to be reading it, definitely going to be giving my thoughts on this channel, so don't stress, I will be covering it, and I'm just curious to see where the story goes, because I've heard some good things so far, and I really want to see more Eyes and Belle relationship building, because that is something that I feel like has been lacking over the last couple of volumes, is their relationship being built upon, because again, they are the end game. It's not a spoiler, but some people see it as a spoiler, because apparently reading the volumes or even watching the anime, apparently they haven't realized this. Eyes and Belle are going to get together at some point. Clearly. That's just factual in itself. They're clearly the end game as far as relationship goes. So I want to see more of that relationship being built upon later on and in this new volume, which I have heard may be the case. So definitely looking forward to that. And if you do want more DanMachi content, character analysis videos, light novel stuff, definitely stay tuned for more. We'll be covering a bunch of stuff to do with Freya and the recent season as well. And I do expect that there will be probably another season at some point, but I don't expect that to be announced for a while also, because of the fact that we'll probably need a couple more volumes out before they do any announcement of another season. Whether you like the adaptation for this season, that's not really the debate being said here. The fact is that they seem to be pumping new seasons out for this, because it clearly seems to be selling and doing well on that side of things. Whether we like the adaptation or not, or the anime itself, we can discuss that in a completely different video. So again, love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.